Welcome to the last video of our installment on how to create an infographic and just understanding Canva overall. So this is the final sample, however, and we're trying to make sure that we get it close to this as possible. This last video is just on overall layout and making sure something's easy for the viewer to read. Now, this is where we currently are. We got our two pictures, we got our two data sets. Now we just need some more statistical information, and we kind of need to block this up because it all looks like one big section and there's not a general flow. So one thing that we already talked about, but I would like to stress, is the use of lines. Lines really help separate images, so I believe that they can be used really strategically to help create an overall sense and vibe of the image, of the infographic. So for example, I used these dots to help separate the pictures from this information. Something that I want to mention is that in Canva, just like if you have Photoshop experience, there are layers. This part that says position is a way to have elements overlap each other. So, for example, let's have this picture. Let's position it backwards some. Well, forward to the front, but let's make sure that these are over top. So these are already over top. So then we're good. But let's say we want them to be behind the picture. Hit backward and hit backward. Now you can see that the dots are behind the picture. Personally, I think they look better in the front. So you literally hit forward, and there you go. So now it's overlapped physically on top of the picture layer. So you can create a little bit more dynamics. Similarly, I had a white line or a line underneath. So you can literally hit duplicate, or if you have a Mac, you can hit Command C to copy. And similarly, you just hit Command V to paste. And this is how you can duplicate a similar element. Now in the sample, this was more of the blue color that we had for dental hygiene. So in document colors, it's already here for us, and you just simply click it. Similarly, this was also blue. Okay, so that's one way. So then we had a picture of America here because we also have some statistical data. We want to mention that overall 92% of Americans have some sort of tooth decay, which is too high, and that's the point. So we want to hit elements, we're already elements, and then we want to hit America. Okay, so there's different ways to show America, but this one specifically shows just United States, America, Hawaii. And I think that this would be really nice to describe, again, our data. Now, make sure that this dark green is a little bit out of the color palette. It takes away from the nice subtle blue that we had. Is there any other green in this data or in this infographic? Yes, we have the green in apple. So try to see where you can use colors that you already used before if it's a similar color. So we have this bright green that pops off the page. It flows with the green and the green apple, and it helps make it an overall cohesive color palette. Now you would add a text box saying, okay, what this picture is. It's just a picture of America. Well, we want to say that it has 92% of Americans have tooth decay. So you would get text, hit a little bit body of text, and put 90% of Americans ... Here it's a little too small. Can't read that. C16, C21. Oh, that's better. Hit bold, and also make that a gray color. So this helps make things easier to read, and just overall layout. So I think layout's important, and you can use these hot pink lines really to your benefit to make something that's really aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so roughly this. You also want a subheading for this picture too, because what is this graphic describing? This graphic is describing percentage of specific kinds of Americans, the race of Americans, and how much permanent tooth decay they have. So I'm also going to put permanent by race. Or you could just say tooth decay, honestly. Tooth decay by race. Too big? Well, you can highlight it, or you can just take the whole box. Canva can understand both. And hit 18. Bold that and change it to a gray. Make sure that a lot of your text box are even and centered specifically to the image that you have, and that they're close to the image that you have, so that way the user can understand, okay, tooth decay by race is for this graphic, not for their picture of hands and pinkies. Similarly, we need to make this slightly bigger because of the to make the way the font's bigger, so that way the user can understand. And we have America. Well, these two are just too close together. It's hard to understand what's going on. Similarly, again, you can use lines. We can take a dotted line, change it so we can make it a little bit smaller, and rotate it by 90 degrees. So that way we can use it vertically to separate the data. And here we go. So now you can understand a little bit easier, okay, what is America and what is the other statistical data. Edit it a little bit, click and drag, so that way they are separated. And here, you can use lines very efficiently to help separate your data, so that way users can understand and make it more clear. Other layout information I would just like to end with are how to use on bullet points. So bullet points are another way to just lay out information, so that way you don't create multiple text boxes. By not creating multiple text boxes, it's just easier to read. Now, what is this graph? We don't have a title for this. We don't have any information describing what this is. So what I'm going to do is move this over slightly, scale it down, give it a heading, because we need to say, so this is the mean student children. This black is really dark, so let's change the color to gray. And we're just going to put it right above. Make sure that they're in line using the pink lines. And add some context so that the users can understand what's going on. So this is children mean tooth decay in permanent teeth. We highlight it if possible, if you need. Change the color so that way it is gray. Make it bigger so that the user can understand what it says. And let's turn it into a bullet point. So just like in Word, you can change the alignment. So let's make it a line so that way it's line centered. And let's add bullet points. Bullet points are right here. And you can also hit it again and it creates numbers. But we just want bullet points. So let's say that point 13 of children, actually 1.5 children, average children have tooth decay. 1.5 average teeth in children under 11 have tooth decay. And we just created a bullet point. Drag and click to make it a little bit bigger. Try to match these up. Make sure that this is bullet. There we go. So this is pretty much similar to the example that we made. It has the general ideas of how to make a chart, how to have graphics, how to have pictures in case you don't have them, and create an overall aesthetically pleasing infographic. In order to get this out and have it sent to anyone you would need, you hit the download, And it has different file types. So if it's suggested that you have a PDF, so it's a portable file. So this makes it easy, doesn't change format if you send it via email, or if you have to print it out, you hit PDF. Or if you're using it as an image, they suggest that you use a PNG. Depending on what Professor J needs, you can hit PNG. You can change the size in pixels if you need, that's more advanced. And just hit download. And it's preparing your design. Since we didn't use any paid features in this design, it won't cost you any money. You don't need Canva Pro. And then we double click, and this is the end result. So thank you so much everyone for watching these different series on how to understand Canva. I hope they are beneficial to learn layout design, graphic design, and how to make a good infographic. All right, have a great day.